I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
I covered this in a previous video, but I want to go into a little bit more detail with some new finds when it comes to the whole idea of the ball versus a circle when it comes to Isaiah. Let's take a look at these Bible verses. For all those that claim that Isaiah was referring to a ball earth, okay, of course, all these Bible verses state, referring to God, he sits enthroned above the circle of the earth. And again, everybody that wants to believe in the lies of science that we live in a ball, okay, circle, circle, circle of the earth, okay, there's no reference to a ball. But one thing I found very interesting, out of all these references to the circle of the earth, there's one Bible verse, the International Standard Version. He's the one who sits above the disk of the earth. Okay? The disk. And again, no ball is mentioned, no sphere is mentioned when it comes to, again, this verse from Isaiah 40:22. And just to be clear that Isaiah knew the difference between a ball and a circle, let's take a look here. And clearly Isaiah knew the difference between a circle and a ball. Okay, all these Bible verses, okay, ball. He will roll you up tightly like a ball. Okay, let's go to King James. Okay, that's the main one I want to look at here that I should be focusing on. Okay, he will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. So, again, you can go through all these Bible verses and you'll see Isaiah clearly knows the difference between a ball and a circle. Now let's take a look back here at Genesis, the very beginning of the Bible, creation of this world we live in. Okay, station. Let's take a look at King James, which again we should focus on. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And very important, notice no mention of planets during creation in Genesis whatsoever. Okay, planets, they're nothing more than lights in the sky. Why do planets shine like, so-called planets shine like stars in the night sky? Because that's all they are. They're nothing more than lights in the sky. And in the entire Bible, there's only one reference to planets. But I want to clarify this. Let's take a look at this actual verse from 2 Kings. And again, with planets not mentioned during creation, but again, this one particular verse, planets are mentioned when it comes to those who burn incense to Baal, to the sun and the moon and to the constellations, and to all the starry host. Let's go down here. That's the New International Version, which I don't look at too much. But again, let's look at King James, where again, planets are mentioned. Again, they burn incense upon Baal, to the sun and to the moon and to the planets and to all the host of heaven. Now let's take a closer look at the meaning of planets itself. The definition. It comes right here again from the Greek meaning. The word planet comes from the Greek word, basically wanderer, short for wandering stars. So that's all there. Planets are nothing more than wandering stars. That's why they're not mentioned during creation. Now let's take a look at here at space.com with the question, why do planets look like stars in the night sky? Because that's all they are. The official reason that the so-called planets, which are nothing more than wandering stars by definition, the official explanation is it's because it's a reflection of the sun. Absolutely not. They're just, again, wandering stars. That's all they are. Now let's take a look at Genesis 1:7, talking about the firmament with the King James Bible. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Now let's take a look here at other Bible verses from Genesis 1:7 with the New International Version. So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it, and it was so. So for all the believers in God and the Bible, if you're still going to stick with the whole idea of the ball earth, you might as well stick to the evolution, the string theory, the theory of relativity, gravity, because it's not biblical. Okay, let's take a look here at Job 37:18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as molten looking glass. Okay, this is from your Bible and from Psalms. He set the earth on its foundations so that it should never be moved. So clearly, whatever science tells us is the exact opposite of the Bible. How clear can it be? So if you're sticking to the whole idea of the ball earth, you're not going along with the biblical truth. You've been unfortunate to see by the churches that are run by Masons, they're not giving you biblical truth. They're only giving you half-truths. And one thing I find extremely interesting when it comes to the word dome. Okay, look at all these biblical verses here talking about the dome from Ezekiel. As I looked at the dome over the heads of the angels. From Amos, this is a very famous verse where it talks about the vaulted dome. And he has founded his vaulted dome over the earth. Okay, again, from Ezekiel, above the dome, over their heads, was something that looked like a throne made of sapphire. And one thing I found very interesting, not only in Deuteronomy, also mentioned again in Isaiah. Let's take a look here at Isaiah with all these references to the kingdoms. Okay, let's take a look here first at King James. As my hand hath found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them, of Jerusalem and of Samaria. Now let's scroll down here a bit. Again, this one biblical verse I find very interesting with the word kingdoms. Let's scroll down here, and we're going to know exactly how they came up with the word kingdoms. Basically, kingdoms means kingdom. As my hand hath found the kingdom once again. So I find that very interesting. Kingdoms is a reference to the king's dome, referring to God. Now let's take a look here at Oxford Dictionary. Of course, the definition of kingdom: a country, state, or territory ruled by a king or a queen. They're replacing God, these kings and queens. For example, the kingdom of the Netherlands. And right here, the spiritual reign or authority of God. Okay, kingdom. Kingdom is kingdom. The rule of God or Christ in a future age. I find this extremely interesting. Now let's take a look at these concepts here. It reminds me of the whole entire concept of the kingdom in Seattle. Unbelievable. It's always in plain sight. The kingdom or the kingdom. It's no longer there. Built in the 70s. It has since been replaced. Here's the demolition of the kingdom. Now also, I found this interesting as well. Currently under construction in the Philippines is the kingdom. Let's take a look here. It's proposed to open up in 2025 at the cost of over $6 billion. And I find this pretty much mockery. The Kingdom Global City. They call it global with the kingdom for, of course, kingdom. Unbelievable how they love to mock. It's going to be a multi-purpose facility run by this one pastor. His name is Apollo. So, anything that's this big, it's Masonically owned and controlled. Nonetheless, I find it very interesting looking through all those Bible verses, and clearly we live under God's firmament. According to the Bible, this is God's kingdom or the king's dome.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
She's worked like a demon, as you know. She's worked like a demon, as you know.
To see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet. In this historic, magnificent building, the 50th woman to leave this earth is orbiting overhead. If we can blast 50 women into space, we will someday launch a woman into the White House. Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it.